That's wild. Greensboro College, what is up? This is your Counseling Center Director, Michael Wyatt, and we're here with Counseling Conversations. Got a couple guys in here with me. We're going to have a good time today. We're talking about big vibes only, cultivating energy for the semester. And so I'm going to give some space for these guys to introduce themselves. We'll start to my left, Mr. Warshay Downey, soon to be Dr.
Yes,
Warshay Downey.
This year. So, hey everybody, I'm Warshay Downey. I'm the Dean of Student Success and Engagement here at Greensboro College. We are glad that you are listening to this phenomenal podcast. Please listen to all of it.
All of it.
All
all
right.
15 minutes of it.
Do not skip a second.
Not one.
And hello, everyone. My name is Terrence Holloway. I'm actually going to be your master's clinician student here that's going to be working with Micah in the counseling service. So definitely glad that I get the opportunity to be here with you all. And please make sure that you listen to all 15 minutes.
For sure. So I'm glad to have you guys here today, man. I think our conversation is going to be very important, especially for returning and new students here at Greensboro College. And so we're going to dive right into some of these questions. How can college students identify and leverage their learning styles to enhance their academic performance? And I think that this particular question is salient because sometimes we get a lot of students coming in that don't know how they learn. They have no idea how they learn. I don't know how I learn, and then they struggle academically, and then they have a mental breakdown on top of it, right?
Yeah.
And so what are some strategies? What are some things that you guys have noticed? Because everybody at the table has worked in college for a number of years. Mm-hmm. What are some things that you've noticed in how a student can leverage their learning style and really enhance their academic performance as a result of understanding that piece of it?
Yeah, I definitely love to answer that first.
Sure.
I would definitely say it's one of those things that's very hard to do overall. And I think that before I kind of get started, I just want to say to the audience that it's okay not to know what that style is for yourself. And it's okay that it's going to take you some time to figure that out.
Yeah.
So definitely what I would just say is be present in where you are in the classroom overall and kind of start to take some time to mentally think about what does work best for you.
Yeah.
Sit down and say, am I the type of person who I need to have all of my syllabi kind of lined out? Make sure that I review all of that information first and kind of, are you a planner? Have a planner with you. Make sure that your calendar is kind of full to the T.
Yeah.
But you want to just make sure that you start to slowly build some form of structure or routine that seems to feel like you're not having to take extra work from yourself or exhaust yourself just to make sure that you're organized, because it does want to feel very natural. Because I think that some people, they see other individuals who kind of are that, I'm a planner, I have my calendar, I have my planner with me, and they think that this is the best thing that I need to do as well. But what I would say is, if that's not you, that's okay. That isn't you. Just find what the structure that works out best for you overall. But just also speak with your professors. Kind of get some use your resources to kind of see what could work or what could you add to your utility belt overall when it comes to that.
For sure.
I like that. In fact, I mean, there's a different learning style for everyone. Everyone doesn't learn the same. Mm-hmm. And of course, here at the college, we have like our accessibility office. You can take an assessment with Miss Georgie Bogdan, but you can also go online to determine, hey, I am struggling in X, Y, or Z. What is my learning style? And so there's visual, there's auditory, there's kinesthetic. There's so many ways that people learn. I know, for example, when I was in classes, I love taking notes on my computer, and I use like the OneNote or whatever. And then sometimes I would rewrite and color code, but that may not work for everyone. Some people, they love to learn by listening.
Yeah.
Or they rewrite notes. So, but other component is reflect on past successes. What worked for you in the past?
Exactly.
What caused you to be successful in the past? Reflect on a time when you can think about what made me successful and duplicate that. Because I found that sometimes you got to use your memory to think about, I remember when I was successful in this. And then sometimes you have to pivot. But there's also very much a diverse approach to everyone. So you may see a friend who studies by themselves. I love to study by myself. I never like to study in a group setting because we just talk.
We ain't going to get no work done.
Exactly.
No work There's going to be no work done in a group setting.
Good fellowship. Good talking.
And don't bring no food. Now,
right, exactly.
Because then we all going to be messed
Now
up.
it's just a potluck.
Right.
But there is a benefit to having that community as well, because then you get to see who may be struggling, who you thought headed going on. But
Yeah.
those are different study styles and those are different learning techniques. And sometimes you can take that in your arsenal, go back to your place of study and just knock it out. So
Yeah.
there's different learning styles, but find out what works best for you. It may not work for everyone else, but find out what works best for you.
For sure, and I want to kind of piggyback on something that you said, Warshay, and that being reflect on when you had a moment of success at this, right? And that's even a clinical tip that we can give to students, and that we often give to students is, at what point did you not feel this, or at what point were you successful at handling, managing, whatever the case may be, and what were you doing at that time? What steps were you taking? What people did you have around you, whatever the case might be? And I think that that's a very, very important piece of this particular question, because sometimes we forget. It's easier for me to remember the F than it is for me to remember the A.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right.
And I think it's also one of those things too that people compartmentalize so many different
Yeah.
things. So, like, let's just say if we're working with a student athlete where they are really successful in their sport, but
Sure.
academically they may not feel like they are where they want to be, or they're not utilizing the same like study habits.
Yeah.
Think about what makes you great in your sport. Like,
Right.
what is it? What are those things that is making you really great on that field or on the court or things like that? And try to bring that formula over there to academics.
Right.
It doesn't need to be two different sides. You can
Right.
join those kind of those pieces there to be able to help you across that landscape there.
Absolutely. It's not an either or, it's more of a both and.
Yeah.
Right. So how do I take successes and across my life, right? Across my span of existence, make this a salient point in these other areas of my life too. And so I think you bring up football, and I think that brings us to another piece of this, of how do we infuse our extracurricular activities, right? How do we leverage those extracurricular activities to contribute to that personal and educational development piece of many of the students here at Greensboro College?
So I would definitely say getting involved, having co-curricular or extracurriculars are very important. It
Yeah.
gives you make you a well-balanced individual, right?
Yeah.
But also it enhances your soft skills, your leadership skills, your
Yeah.
team building skills, communication skills, so on and so forth. Even time management, because if you are a student athlete, you have to balance a lot. You have to balance your conditioning, your practice times, your practice, all of those things, and travel. Time management is very important in that case, but also being part of extracurricular activities gives you immense networking opportunities that you can leverage with internships and careers. And yes, there's about 20 different student organizations here on campus that students can get involved in. So I encourage you students, go to the Greensboro Students SharePoint. You can go to our LinkedIn or our Instagram page, and you'll see the @GC Success 1.
Go ahead and
to
get
see
your plug
that.
in.
Yeah.
Go
But-
and put your plug in.
But the extracurriculars also foster a sense of belonging. And you want to feel that you belong and that you matter and that you find your group here on campus, your different groups, whether you are a student athlete or a non-student athlete or just different majors hang out together, but find your different groups of community that you can improve yourself, your holistic success. And our theme today is big vibes only. So create those big vibes that you're looking for and that you're seeking
sure.
after. Yeah.
For sure. Like I think so because Greensboro College is a smaller college, it really gives us an opportunity to afford the students that come here the ability to really take advantage of these resources and be a integral part in some of these student-led activities, and you find a sense of belonging. To your point, you find your people, right? Like it's nothing scarier than as a freshman walking on a college campus. I don't know nobody. I ain't never seen y'all before. My mama ain't here. My friends from back home ain't here. What do I do, right? This is what you do, right? It's to set
Plug
yourself up for success. You have to plug in,
have to plug in.
to the college that you're at, namely Greensboro College.
And I also want to say this as well, because, we have a few students who they love to stay in their room. That's all they do. They stay in their room. They may or may not go to class, and perhaps are wondering why do they feel disconnected from campus. You have to expand your horizons, and you have to get out of your comfort zone to grow.
Yeah.
And that is going to help.
Yeah. It can be so comforting to know that you have people.
Yep.
And when you sit in your dorm room by yourself all the time, you're only reinforcing
dark.
the thought. In the dark, you only reinforce the thought that I don't have anyone.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think a theme of this kind of podcast is you're going to hear us use the term resources a lot for sure. And I think that's really crucial in terms of whatever institution that you're in, but more in particular here at Greensboro, is because you have to find your way to get connected. And I think that being at a campus like Greensboro allows you the fortitude to be able to get not just connected right away,
For sure.
but also to gain great opportunities for leadership right away.
Yeah.
I think that the institution will really allow you to vocalize who you are, what you see yourself becoming, but also what you want the institution to be. And I think that being able to get involved right away and kind of finding that connection, like you all were saying previously before, is like that's what keeps you here.
Yeah.
And I think you definitely see a lot of the times you have students who are not, whether they're playing a sport or they're not, or they're a non-traditional student or something, there needs to be something that's drawing you here besides just this one small piece. Because yes, your academics and your major or your sport, that has you here, right? But it needs to be so much more than that. You need to find ways to not only just learn here, but also give back to the institution and grow with the institution within like those additional resources as well.
For sure.
Let me also add this. I dropped the Office of Student Success Instagram, but also the Office of Student Activities on Instagram, GC Stu, STUACT, because that is going to be a great resource to find different avenues to plug in with different organizations, even community organizations. There's a lot of things that Greensboro College is doing in the community, and it is having a ripple impact. When you think about students who are involved, not only are they involved for today, but it is a sustainable thing so that when they graduate, they can reflect and have memory, oh, I did this and that.
Yeah.
That is a ripple impact, and you get to leave your paw print once you leave here.
For sure. And I think that kind of helps to segue us into another piece of this conversation, and that being healthy habits, right?
Yes.
And so this conversation is naturally a conversation that you have, and we're throwing out a lot of resources. We're throwing out a lot of tips and tricks, but it helps you to build healthy habits, right? And so what role do you think like those healthy habits, physical exercise, community involvement, what role does that play, and how important is that for a student's academic success here at Greensboro College?
Yeah, I think that when it comes to education, you kind of have to look at yourself as a brand. And I think that was something that my mentor when I was in undergrad really was helping me understand when I stepped foot on my institution's campus, like right away. He really sat me down and he told me, he said, Terrence, what you really want to make sure that you understand is that you are a brand now. And you want people to be fond of your brand. Yeah. And you want to also take care of your brand. So a lot of that is making sure that you are taking the time to take care of your well-being physically, mentally, emotionally, academically, making sure that you're getting involved. Networking is so important while you're in college. So making sure that you're able to put your face in front of individuals who can potentially pay you one day, because we all want to make sure that you all are leaving this institution with jobs and careers that you are passionate or interested in. So definitely it's really important for you to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. So making sure that you're eating right, making sure that you're getting up and moving at some point. Michelle Obama, play 60, get up and move for at least an hour or something to make sure, but also get connected. Micah and I were talking previously, it can be lonely. And as Micah was saying, you're coming to a new environment and a new community. You can't just sit in your room your entire time. You have to kind of get out there. So that's really something that's really important, because that's going to also factor your well-being as well. But also that I would just say kind of in closing is making sure that you're vocalizing how you're feeling is something that's also crucial. And I think that in college, you start to feel like a lot of people aren't understanding how you are feeling or how the things that you're going through. And that's when you can kind of start having those spiraling moments. So please definitely make sure that you take the time, you all, to vocalize how you're feeling. Are you feeling okay? Have you checked in with yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, to make sure that you are yourself at the end of the day? Vocalize that to your professors. Make sure that you utilize, once again, those additional resources to seek help if you do need any as well.
For sure.
I love how you talked about taking care of your brand.
Yeah.
And you are a brand called Me, right? And that is so very important to recognize that importance, but also thinking about the roles that you can do for these healthy habits, eating healthy, physical exercise. What are you ingesting, like within your reading? What are you looking at constantly? Are you on social media too much? Are you kind of living life vicariously through others because you want to emulate them and you're not out and about trying to do what you should be doing. And sometimes those are habits that really can be a detriment or can be a success for us.
Yeah.
We have to guard our eyes and our ears. And what are we listening to? What are we watching? What are we reading? So I'm a fond believer that you have to surround yourself around things that are thriving, that are successful, so that you can come and be the best version of yourself and have the impact for others that, because I believe everyone is uniquely made. And everyone has a unique identity, right? But those healthy habits are very important, from working out, but also maybe you're working out too much.
Yeah.
And maybe you're not going to class, right? So balancing those things, because I would tell you that sometimes by setting small goals and accomplishing those small goals in increments, you will feel immensely well. You'll feel good about yourself. Even if you just did a 1 paragraph of a 10-page paper that is due very soon, you got to start somewhere, because those healthy habits are what we call it. It's a book called Atomic Habits. You've got to start somewhere and have a goal in mind.
Goals don't always have to be oceans. They can be lakes, they can be puddles. You know,
puddles.
it is okay to kind of start small with goals, because sometimes you really start to develop those very lofty goals, and then you're much harder on yourself when you don't achieve those things.
For sure.
Think of it like that SpongeBob episode where he had to write that essay, and he goes on this really, strong tangent. You really think he's writing this masterpiece, and he just wrote the word "the" in Old English. He felt great about himself just by doing that. So think about those types of things there. Let's start small, because that allows you to grow at the end of the day.
I've got to add on to that. I love SpongeBob, of course. But you have to celebrate those small wins. And watch this. You also got to celebrate others around you.
Yes.
That is going to be very important. It has to be habitual. You cannot be a negative Bob or a negative Nancy, whatever. You have to be positive. Those are also habits. And there's another habit I want to talk about very briefly is, of course, your eating habits, your energy levels. Sometimes it could be a very long day. Your energy is depleted. What have you fueled your body with? So be mindful of all those things that you are ingesting from your eyes, from spiritual aspects. All of those things matter. Total balance, total wellness.
For sure. And I want to, let us know that we do have a food pantry here on campus too. And so if you are a student who struggles to find healthy eating habits, and there's a nutritionist on campus as well, so make sure that you're utilizing these resources. But at the same time, you want to make sure that your branding is good, that you're taking advantage of all the activities, all the things that we have to offer here at Greensboro College. Do not allow your college experience to be one that you regret.
Yeah.
Right? If you regret your college experience, I think some of that responsibility falls on you as the person who allowed it to happen.
Yeah.
Right? And so we want to make sure that we're not doing that. There's a ton of resources across the campus. And as we wrap up, right, I really want to make that point really, really clear. The amount of resources across this campus are immense. And so you want to make sure that you're using those resources and you're plugging yourself in, you're getting connected. And if you fall on hard times and you need to process some things, come on to Counseling Services. We're there to help you. It's 100% confidential. We're not going to share your information with anybody. We ain't going to be out on the yard, talking to your professor. Like, you need to check on them. I don't know what's going on. We're not going to do that. No, we're not going to do that. All of it's confidential. We keep your information close-knit, but at the same time, we want to make sure that you get the tools and you get the help that you need to be successful at Greensboro College, right? So thank you guys for coming in today, man. I want to applaud both of you for being here. AJ, man, thank you for all your help here.
Thank you, AJ.
And we got Tom in the building, been taking pictures
Tom,
and
Silent Tom.
Silent Tom.
Tom's here in the corner with the camera.
That's a killer nickname. That's a killer. Silent Tom right there. That's
Tom.
So I thank you guys for coming in and being a part. Looking forward to having many, many more conversations. You guys be on the lookout for these episodes to drop. Be on the lookout for the episodes coming in the future. And that's Counseling Services. That's Counseling Conversations with us here today. Have a good one.